The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Turnpike Sports Book Report, where we're going to be talking about the past week's state and national sports betting reports. We got about 7 states reporting their numbers. We'll hit some of the highlights, some of the benchmarks. We got a bunch of deals to talk about as usual, especially a couple involving some major league teams. We've got Yankees deals, Cleveland Browns, the Golden Knights, so we're hitting all the major sports.
Hockey deals.
We've got some,
not like hockey deals.
We've got some industry updates, including an announcement of a new retail book, as well as a addition to the Android Auto app, which I find particularly interesting.
Which, by the way, I use the Android Auto app, so I'm pretty excited about that new product coming out. So.
And after that, we've got some legislation to talk about, and finally, we get to talk about Massachusetts.
Do we really talk about Massachusetts?
I don't know if it's really good news for Massachusetts.
I don't know.
We've also got some Ohio legislation to talk about in Kansas as well, if we have time.
Ohio and Kansas, I think, are a lot closer to sports betting than Massachusetts. So,
well, we'll still talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
All right, let's start off with some numbers. Now, as I said at the top, we had about 7 states reporting their numbers for sports betting in terms of handle revenue over the last week here. We're just going to hit some of the highlights because we've got Nevada, New York. We even are going to talk a little bit about South Dakota.
Okay.
But we're going to start with Nevada.
Who, by the way, just missed a record.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
The overall gaming revenue record?
Yes.
But they have now had... Nevada gaming revenues have topped $1 billion for the 13th straight month.
Yeah, no,
that's an incredible run.
March was very good.
They actually hit a benchmark I didn't know had not been hit before. I thought Nevada had hit this a while ago, but I guess in the post-PASPA era now, we got to differentiate between all these things. Nevada reported the highest monthly recorded handle for the sport of basketball in March.
I saw that. Yeah, it was very interesting. Well, look, I think there was some great basketball being played in March. So, both college and pro.
Yes.
So,
yes. So, but they recorded
and Nevada reaped the benefits.
They recorded a handle of $708.9 million in terms of handle just for basketball. And I know they don't really differentiate between college and pro when they're doing the reports, but I'm pretty sure March Madness had a lot to do with some of these numbers there.
Yeah, I didn't see the split. I didn't see how much was pro and how much was college, but everywhere basketball was a great sport for the sports book. So, Nevada really made out well with basketball.
Well, we have one negative thing to hit regarding Nevada. The March hold. It was the first time in the post-PASPA era, dating back to May of 2018. That's when post-PASPA began.
Yeah.
The Nevada hold rate was less than 5% for the 4th consecutive month.
Huh, okay.
So I'm assuming that means a lot of good bettors are coming into Nevada.
Yeah, a lot of educated bettors. So
yeah, and it's kind of interesting to see how that is going. And I noticed in the actual detailed report that the mobile handle is starting to grow a little bit again, which is kind of fun to see.
We're joking around with, about educated bettors, and I don't know how someone would do a study of this, but I'm curious, after everyone's really allowing sports betting, how better people are at placing bets and winning at sports betting, and I'm wondering how good the books are of adjusting their numbers. I'm not quite sure how the study would work out like that, but I'm very curious about the evolution of sports betting, both on the bettor side and the book side. It should be an interesting thing.
What you're saying is we've got a nation of better bettors?
Maybe,
that's,
I don't know. Maybe,
that.
give me some grant money. I'll do a study.
Yeah.
I'll do a year-long study on it.
Well, we can't do the numbers segment without hitting New York. New York is constant in terms of doing something unique in the market. The 10.9% hold rate this past week in New York, the week ending April 29th, I think it was. Highest overall weekly hold rate recorded, and second straight week of over 10% of the market.
Okay.
So their hold rate is holding steady around 10% for the last couple of weeks.
All right, yeah.
Week ending April.
I know some states have that required in the law.
Yes.
So
New York's hitting that naturally.
Yeah, that's a natural hold.
The week ending April 24th marked the second straight week FanDuel surpassed $20 million in revenue. And it's becoming clear that FanDuel is the leader in that market.
I'm very surprised, when I see these numbers because, here in New Jersey, we get the commercials from New York and New York City, and I got to be honest, maybe it's just when I walk into and sit in front of the TV, but it seems like Caesars is just constantly on.
Even after they,
I know they kind of pulled it back a bit, but I'm very I'm surprised that FanDuel is doing so well considering what I'm seeing on TV and the advertising. So.
Well, they are the first New York operator to pass $2 billion in handle.
Yeah, they're doing great.
$2.24 billion through the week ending April 24th.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other benchmarks to hit. BetMGM New York. They cleared $500 million in handle.
Okay.
$527 million to be exact. Caesars New York cleared $1.2 billion.
Okay.
1.224 I think was the actual number. Not really, 2.224 is, kind of going into detail there, but passing that $1 billion mark now is kind of interesting to see. They now have three that are over $1 billion: FanDuel, DraftKings, and Caesars.
Yeah, I mean they're like I said, they're doing great.
And New York. I want to say I wish we could stop talking about New York for a little bit, but
you can't. They're the big story in sports.
They're the big guy in the
until
room here,
California allows sports betting. New York is going to continue to be the big market and the benchmark and the state with the incredible numbers. So you have to talk about them.
Well, we're going from the big guy in New York to South Dakota.
Okay.
South Dakota had a record handle in March.
Okay.
Little difference in size, $975,000.
All right.
That was a record handle for the state. The state launched sports betting in September 2021.
Now, where is South Dakota? Is that the Deadwood thing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You're only allowed sports betting in Deadwood?
That's it.
All right.
Total handle of $5.1 million.
Okay.
But again, small market.
Sure.
It's doing well, though.
Yeah.
It's constantly growing. Colorado didn't set any records, but I did notice that their table tennis market is dropping.
Okay.
We always talk table tennis for both Colorado and Oregon.
The thing for me is I'm surprised how well table tennis does with Colorado bettors and for the sports books. And, hey, if you like betting on table tennis, great, good for you. Do what you want. But, no, it's I'm wondering if table tennis has a season. You're saying it's dropping off in Colorado. I wonder if it's a downtime for the
it's still a
table
large
tennis
number.
industry.
It's still a large number for table tennis. But again, in March, lowest recorded monthly handle and revenue since May 2020 when they launched.
Okay.
Handle of table tennis was $1.339 million. So that's still a good number.
Yeah.
That was about 0.3% of the total handle. Usually, when you look at the numbers for Colorado, table tennis gets up to about maybe 1%.
At one time, that was like the fifth most bet on sport. What is it? Colorado and Oregon.
Yep.
They're the big table tennis markets. Huh?
I don't know why those markets settled there in those two states, but
they like their table tennis. Good for them.
But again, $1.339 million.
And if you're making money off it,
yep,
good.
And $88,600 in revenue.
Okay.
Over in Arizona, we had a report come out from the Nevada Independent, and I thought the number that this report threw out was kind of interesting. In Arizona, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, and Caesars account for over 90% of the state's sports betting handle. And
Wow.
revenue.
Wow.
That's telling me that less than 10% is being divided by the other, 8 to 10 operators?
I don't know how many operators they have in Arizona, but FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, and Caesars, that's more than 90% of their market.
There's not much more to divvy up between the other books out there, but again, I mean, Arizona's going to have another retail book with that DraftKings. DraftKings is going to increase their market share there. We're going to see a whole bunch of other different retail books starting to move ahead, especially with the tribes.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see if someone can break into that top 4. So,
last number for the week, we have Virginia. Virginia released their March numbers. At the end of March, Virginia bettors have wagered more than $4.5 billion on sports.
You know, the gaming market in Virginia is just going to get better because I know the Virginia Lottery, who controls the gaming in that Commonwealth, I think they just issued their first casino license.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know those casinos are going to have
Hard Rock Bristol, if I got that right? Okay.
And I think there's 3 other towns that are going to have, or 3 other cities, I should say.
I read the article. I think it's Danville, Norfolk, and Portsmouth.
Yes.
I think.
So we're going to see total of 4 casinos.
So I'm interested in Virginia gambling. So
I want to see how quickly.
Didn't we have a story? They had to stop with the slogan "Virginia is for bettors" because it was too close to the Virginia is for lovers.
Yeah. So they just that's going to be enacted July 1st.
What you can't
that law?
Okay, you can't say
right
Virginia
now,
is for
I guess they're
bettors.
still doing it. I don't know.
I
haven't seen a Virginia ad yet for a sports betting operator, but. That's it for the numbers. Let's talk some deals. Well, we got a bunch of deals to talk about. We always have deals to talk about. There's always something first of its kind being done, and this week we had one of those too. We have a first of a kind deal between FanDuel and a boxer.
Oh, okay, good.
First time FanDuel has had a deal with a boxing entity. This is FanDuel did a partnership with 7-division reigning champion Amanda Serrano.
Okay, all right.
Women's champion, 7 different divisions. She's won belts in.
Now this is boxing. This isn't MMA.
She's going to be wearing FanDuel on her shorts.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, how are they going to manifest that? Is going to be like T-shirts and shorts and gloves? I guess you can't do gloves, but.
You never know.
Who knows?
I don't know how the gloves work in boxing. Usually it's the manufacturer has to be on it.
Yeah,
so,
I guess so, yeah.
But she was also the very first female fighter to headline a boxing card at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, okay.
So,
good.
Record-setting person, first-of-a-kind deal with FanDuel.
A pioneer in every sense of the word. And by the way, I bet you it'll be the robe. I'm trying to think of how FanDuel can be placed on a boxer. I would guess the robe.
From what I read, it said the shorts.
The shorts. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
That doesn't mean.
See, I'm trying to do marketing for FanDuel.
That doesn't mean they're going to not expand it. And also, you got to realize she may have another gaming partner for the robe.
Sure. Okay.
So,
all right.
Leave those. Got to.
What licensing deals for boxing?
Exactly.
Huh? Okay.
FanDuel also announced a multi-year partnership with the Yankees.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
A very interesting partnership deal here because it included giving FanDuel VIP hospitality accommodations at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, cool. Cool.
So
you get the,
I think that's for
they got a luxury box.
Guests of FanDuel, all that, Kind of a different sort of deal. Usually you see a bar or a lounge being given to the operator, but this one...
I just want to say, FanDuel, I enjoy your product very much. If you ever want to invite us to one of the games at Yankee Stadium in your luxury box, I will certainly accept.
Yes,
and I'll place all my bets on FanDuel from the luxury box.
Also, they're going to have signage, right field fence, and rotational signage behind the batters during television broadcasts.
Okay.
So the green screens that are built into the padding in the back.
Yep.
You're going to see FanDuel on one of those.
Okay.
Our next deal is between Bally's Interactive and the Cleveland Browns.
They don't even have sports betting in Ohio yet. I mean,
no.
I think the deal is. Ohio, it's legal, but it's not launched yet.
Right. It's passed. They haven't actually licensed anybody.
Okay.
They haven't done any. They're still figuring out the rules, as a matter of fact.
Well,
in the legislation section, we'll talk about one of the rules that just came out that's kind of annoying a lot of people.
Okay. Yeah, and in a couple of weeks, we're going to have someone from Jack Entertainment on, who has a couple of properties in Ohio. So we're going to get the lowdown on what's going on in Ohio. The the big build-up for sports betting in Ohio.
Well, Bally's now has 18 states under their belt where they have market access or they're operating.
Yep.
They did a deal with Cleveland Browns. I just said in the with regards to the FanDuel Yankees deal, that was a little atypical with the hospitality accommodations. Mm-hmm. This one is going to be a branded lounge at First Energy Stadium.
Great.
So more of a typical deal. We have Circa Sports doing a multi-year deal as the Vegas Golden Knights home jersey patch starting next season.
That's pretty cool.
That's actually really cool.
I think you're going to see a lot of sports books start doing that, especially in the East and New York and things like that.
This is the second deal like this.
Yeah.
First deal for the Knights, but the very first deal for this type of deal for the NHL came in Washington. Washington Capitals at Caesars.
I want to see if you can start using your comp points to get tickets for these games.
They're probably going to start doing that. If they already haven't started doing that.
Start thinking about that. I think that's a great idea. You're getting so intertwined with the professional leagues. I wonder if, can I direct some comp points and get some tickets? So
next deal is Ellis Technology.
All right.
They announced an exclusive partnership with RightBet, WRIGHT, like the Wright brothers.
Yes.
No relation, by the way. I just wanted to put that out there like that. RightBet is in restaurants and bars. They're not typical sports books.
Mm-hmm.
So this is to create up to 12 different sports book type entities in bars and restaurants in Ohio.
Now, are they planning on doing something like they did in Pennsylvania? I know Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. They actually are a sports book now. When they said they were getting sports betting, I thought they were going to just throw kiosks in there, but no, they actually have windows with tellers and taking bets. Is this what they plan on doing?
Well, more to that point, Ellis also does the sportsbook operations for Grand Central down in D.C.
All right, okay.
So they mimic that deal.
All right.
Where it's just going to be in the restaurants, couple kiosks.
Kiosks, okay.
And I don't know if they're going to have tellers in some of these. Ohio's still issuing the rules, so you may or may not see tellers in some locations. But they're going to have up to 12 sportsbook locations in different restaurants and bars that RightBet is partnered with already.
I gotta start used to using kiosks. They're everywhere on the gaming floors and things like that. The only place I ever used a kiosks for sports betting was Parks Casino in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. So,
well, again, this is all
takes a little getting used to for me. Anyway, I'm not one of those
I've never used
techie guys.
I've never used a kiosk.
No, I used it in Parks. So
I've used the apps and I used the tellers. I've just never had the urge to go up to a kiosk and use one of those.
Yeah, I tried it out.
So, but both the Bally's deal with the Browns and Ellis's deal with RightBet are dependent upon the launch and licensing in Ohio.
Yes,
whenever that's going to be.
That's got to be soon.
They're talking probably before the beginning of this next football season.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. I'm hearing all these dates, and so it's hard to keep track of what people are saying and when things are going to launch.
Yeah, or you could be like Maryland and not tell anybody.
Yeah, right.
Maryland's still up.
But it's got to be soon. Yeah. I mean, look, this is
Ohio's
insane.
Very soon because I'm really curious to see the Rush Street Sportsbook at the Hall of Fame.
Well, yes. Well, we're approaching one of those big benchmarks, and that is the start of the football season. Yes. So everyone's going to get their ducks in a row for. It's usually the start of any kind of season. Usually it's the football season, but then other people say, "Oh, start a hockey or basketball or something like that," and then you have the World Series. That's another benchmark that they always shoot for. So it's interesting. Yeah. They never say July 18th. That's what we plan. No, it's always a benchmark kind of sporting event.
And also when they give a specific date, they're going to change that date.
Yeah. You know what? One thing I'm really interested in Ohio, and I'll probably ask him about it, and I'm sure he'll know, is the college betting situation. Here in New Jersey, we're not allowed to bet on any colleges or universities in our state or any collegiate activity in the state. Now, you're talking about Ohio. Ohio State is football in
Ohio
Ohio.
State University
So,
asked the commission
yeah,
to allow betting on football and basketball only.
yeah, that's a weird thing.
And also just the games, no player props.
Yeah, I understand.
And
that.
I think that's the logical.
Jersey doesn't even have that. I'd be fine with that in Jersey.
That's
bet on the games, not on the players. But we don't have that.
That's the rational middle ground for everything in terms of college sports. But that's the deals for this past week. There's a whole bunch more to talk about. Let's move on to some industry updates.
All right.
We have 2 industry updates to hit. There's a whole bunch more, but I want to hit these 2 specifically. Monmouth Park just had their media day recently.
Yes, big news up in Monmouth Park.
Yes. Two actually really big announcements came out. Number one, fixed odds betting is going to be starting at Monmouth Park this season.
No, it's for horse racing.
That's for horse racing.
Yes, which is a big deal in New Jersey. We've had a couple interviews with a lot of people in the horse racing industry. They feel that fixed odds betting means when you bet on a horse, you get those odds at that very moment. Now, before fixed odds betting came along, you bet on a horse and the odds changed up until the post time. So, now a fixed odd. They think this will attract younger bettors. I'm not sure about that, but people who are used to betting
the
sports
traditional
betting,
sports betting style.
Yeah. So they hope that will attract younger bettors to horse racing.
And the other announcement that came from Media Day was Caesars Entertainment announced they're going to be building a $15 million sports book at Monmouth Park near the valet parking area.
That's great.
Remember, it's right now still William Hill, I think.
Yes.
So they're making their own Caesar sports book there. Going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, North Jersey has very good retail sports books. There's one in the Meadowlands. That's shared by FanDuel and PointsBet, and Caesars is over at Monmouth Park, which is a very short ride from New York City. So,
and we also have, I think, Parks over at Freehold.
Yeah, well, that's not North Jersey.
No, but I'm just saying in terms of I'm just getting let's get all the racetracks in here.
People are listening across the country, and Freehold's in North Jersey.
No, I'm just saying you got to get all the tracks in.
Yeah, okay.
So, and the other industry update I want to hit is SimpleBet announced a partnership with Connected Travel to launch what's called Smart Radio.
I am very interested in this because it'll be through the Google Android app. Why don't you explain what that is?
It's a partnership where they're going to be able to allow betting by voice while you're driving through the Android Auto app. It's sort of like an update to the Android Auto app, where it works in conjunction with it.
Yes. And
you're going to be able to, while you're listening to a sporting event, you're going to be able to tell the system to place a bet.
Yeah.
So
I'm very,
very, very interested to see exactly how this. Yeah. Plus, also one other thing with this, they're going to allow you to shop too.
Yes, you can shop for products that you hear on the radio, commercial. I'm very curious how it's Android Auto app, so obviously it works through your phone. I mean, will you be able to bet with the books that you have an app for on your phone? I'm assuming that's the way it works. I'm very curious to see how they're going to lay this out and how. I have a bunch of sports books on my phone. If I plug it into my Auto app, will I be able to say, "Hey, FanDuel Sportsbook, I want this much on this team," or something like that?
Well, I think it's going to be whoever they're partnered with.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be partnerships available, but
it's also going to be dependent upon they're going to test it out with some free to play stuff. So let's see the testing go and kind of a really very nice development. Yes.
I hope it works. I love the idea of the product, but I have to learn how to do it right. I mean, I sometimes try and text from my car. You say, "Hey Google, text so and so," and they say, "What's the text?" And sometimes it gets it wrong. So I just want to make sure when I'm betting, I get this thing right.
Well, it's going to be kind of interesting. I mean, I hate to say it this way. Are we going to start seeing new tickets being handed out by cops betting while driving?
Oh, yeah. BWD. Right. Well, no. I mean, they're doing it because you can bet in a safe way. It's hands-free, and, I can't wait to try it. I mean, seriously, I will try it. Do you know how many times, you're listening to a game on the radio and you're driving and you can't do anything about it?
Yeah.
So, hey, you're make some money while you commute.
Well, let's finish up today with some legislation.
All right.
As I teased at the beginning of the show, we had a couple states working with some sports betting bills. Kansas made the giant step forward. That's moving ahead.
Okay.
That is possibly they're going to be able to launch by the fall.
Wow.
In Kansas.
Wow, way
That's
to go,
how quickly
Kansas.
they're moving.
Wow.
I know everyone was focused on Kansas and Missouri, and Missouri seemed to drop the ball. They're dead, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen with them. Kansas is moving forward. Going back to Ohio, I teased this talking about the deals that in the other segment. Ohio Lottery Commission issued a whole bunch of new proposed rules. One of them limits the number of kiosks in bars and restaurants to 2.
All right.
I mean, that knocks down a lot of business.
I guess it's better than none, but what was the reasoning for just 2? Just this arbitrary number that they throw out?
That was in the bill.
Okay.
That got passed in the bill, and so a lot of the bar and restaurant owners are a little upset about that. They're trying to figure out how they can change that.
Well, I first, if I was them, what's the reasoning for it? If I know your reasoning for only 2, I can alleviate your fears.
But it's already in the bills. You know, it was already passed, and they didn't do anything about it then. I don't know if you can do anything about it now.
Well, okay.
Let's finish up with Massachusetts. Massachusetts made a mess.
It's just
I should say
bizarre.
the House was good.
Well, for the first time, the state Senate in Massachusetts passed a sports betting
Unanimously
bill.
passed it.
Yes.
And
but
what a mess of a bill.
Well, what kind of bill was it? But
35
I'll let you say it. But,
what was it? 35% tax rate.
Yeah.
A ban on college sports betting.
All college. No college sports betting
None whatsoever. And also, the advertising rules were very, very weird.
It's a bizarre advertising. It is very. Explain it, but it's very hard to get a handle on.
There's a whole list of restrictions on advertising a sports book. On TV, you can't do it during a live sporting event and 5 minutes before and after.
Okay.
Which is weird.
Yeah, it's very odd.
You have to, in arena advertising, can't be distracting.
Okay.
I don't know how you can avoid that one.
Why? Who will decide if it's distracting or not?
Yep. And if you are advertising on TV, I guess outside of a live sporting event, you have to put it in a position or location in the broadcast where you have to be reasonably sure the audience, 85% or more of the audience, is over 21.
See, that's ridiculous.
How the hell do you measure that one? I mean, accurately.
I mean, that's just bizarre. I mean, if you're a media company, how do you sell advertising? You know, we can put you here, but it's where our younger people look at it, and we can't do it, or we can do it, but you know, you have to pay more or pay less, or it's just a mess. Who makes these decisions? I don't get
Is somebody in the Senate worried that they're going to advertise during Saturday morning cartoons?
I don't get it. I don't understand.
And one other one that kind of caught me a little off guard was the untethered. There are no untethered online books under the Senate bill.
Well, I guess they got to be licensed through a land-based casino.
That knocks out FanDuel and DraftKings if they limit the number of online books, because you've got competitors. BetMGM.
Yep.
With MGM Springfield, you got
WinBet.
And Plain Ridge is Penn
Barstool.
National. Could be Score and Barstool right there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, most of the licenses for online books would be taken up already.
So the situation is now it goes back to the House, and the House and the Senate have to compromise. They have a joint committee. They have to compromise, and I think they have until sometime in July.
The end of the legislative session.
To figure this out.
It's got to be compromised, and then it goes to the governor if they reach a compromise.
Yeah.
I don't see that compromise.
It's just weird. I don't get it. So.
But anyway, that's it for this week's Turnpike Sports Book Report. Keep the press releases coming in. Info at turnpikesportsradio.com. If you've been following along on TV, our ticker has been showing you other news stories that we didn't have a chance to hit. And also, when you go to turnpikesportsradio.com and click on the blog button, about maybe a half hour after this book report is released, you'll see the full print version on our blog for you to read through, with a whole bunch of other news stories that we did not have a chance to hit in the time we have allotted here.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.